Expect more positive economic dividends soon, President Tinubu tells Nigerians.
Vice President Shettima visits Plateau, says perpetrators of attack in the state will be apprehended.
Ayedatiwa sworn in as Ondo governor. Reactions trail Akeredolu's death.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss renewed attacks in Plateau State.
All right, some years ago, many people looked forward to visiting Plateau State in the north central part of Nigeria, specifically for its breathtaking sceneries, as well as stunning display of rocks, hills, and of course nature at its best. But today, things are rather different.
Indeed, since 2001, the dread of communal clashes has made many avoid Nigeria's home of peace and tourism. Clear recall that in September 2001, the just crisis claimed about 1,000 lives.
Well, that's what the report put that incident, Victor. Of course, there have been several other clashes, in Plateau State between 2002 and 2004 as well. We remember incidents in Wase, Langtang North and Langtang South. We also remember, the ones that happened in Shandam, Mikang, Kwam, Pan, Brekenadi, and of course Riom. All of these, Victor, are just few.
Yeah, just to mention a few, and the studies have revealed that about 3,000 people were killed in Plateau State between September 2001 and May 2004. There were other attacks in 2008, and then the deadliest of all, which claimed more than 1,000 lives in 2010.
It's precisely. Now, many people, of course, were killed and displaced. We can count, more than 20,000 people who were displaced between 2008 and 2010 alone in Plateau State. Of course, many more died in the 2012 Jos bombing and 2021 destructions of farmlands. There were several other clashes in subsequent years, of course, leading to what happened this weekend, when nearly, of course, although we're having conflicting reports here and there, but official report is putting the casualty figure in the Bukos, local government area attack at over 140.
Indeed, security experts are pointing to the hidden identities of perpetrators of these attacks as the major challenge, since they are neither recognized groups nor militia. Now, other issues in these conflicts include the presence of well-organized armed groups in rural areas, the proliferation of weapons, and the sharp rise in gun fatalities within Jos.
Yes, but again, there have been several, explanations as to the root cause of what is happening in Plateau. But the most plausible is the one that has to do with indigenship, and of course who owns what part or what portion of land. There are also some political leanings in terms of representation and all that. But Victor, the major factor we hear is about land.
Who is
yes,
indigenous and who is not. And now the attacks in Plateau State is our focus on Good Morning Nigeria today. Welcome to the program. I am Victor, as it's always a pleasure to have you join us.
Indeed, it's a very sad morning, and we all know what happened yesterday. The governor of Ondo State, unfortunately, passed on. That's Governor Akeredolu, at the age of 67.
The speaker, the former speaker.
Yes, the former speaker as well, Gali, Naba, also passed on at age 65. And then, of course, the incident in Plateau. So it's been a very sad week for all Nigerians. And as always, we pray that God comforts, the families of those who lost their very loved ones. All right, I welcome you to the program. I join Victor to also say good morning. And this is Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. We'll be taking highlights of the morning news in just a moment. Comfort will be leading us. There will be some business news much later, and Chukwudiokodu Gbaja will be joining us for newspaper review. For now, here is Comfort Amodu. Comfort, good morning.
Good morning, Claire and Victor. Thanks for joining us on the morning news. President Bola Tinubu is assuring Nigerians that this administration has taken some transformational steps, which positive results will soon manifest on the economy of the country. President Tinubu gave the reassurance at a meeting with Lagos State stakeholders, which included political and traditional leaders. The federal government has directed security agencies to ensure that perpetrators of the heinous killings in Plateau State are arrested and brought to justice. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this during his visit to Bokus on the recent attack in the state. Elsewhere, the acting governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has been sworn in as the substantive and seventh executive governor of Ondo State. The swearing-in ceremony was presided over by Chief Judge of Ondo State, Olusegun Odushola, in the presence of top government functionaries, religious leaders, party faithful, and other eminent personalities. That's the highlight of the news. Stay tuned for more on Good Morning Nigeria with Claire and Victor after this break. Good morning.
Renewed Hope Initiative, a pet project of the First Lady, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, is up and running. Meeting targets, fast touching lives. Renewed Hope Initiative comes with a clear interventionist mandate, catering to the poor, needy, and vulnerable.
Empowering women is not just a slogan for us in the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, but a commitment towards a better life for families in every state of the Federation.
RHI, tending the weak, letting the poor breathe, bringing back the smile, leaving no one behind, changing the narrative towards a better family.
Peace in Southeast Project, PICE-P, and the people of Bende Federal Constituency, Abia State, cordially invite you to the grand civic reception, Thanksgiving, and homecoming of their illustrious son, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu, Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Nigeria. Distinguished Father of the Day, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of Nigeria. Special guests of honor, Senator Godswill Akpabio, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, Governors of the Southeast States. Royal Fathers of the Day, Obi of Onisha, Sultan of Sokoto, Oni of Ife, Oba of Lagos, Emir of Birchi, Olu of Wari, Chairman of Council of Indieze in Abia State. Captains of industries, members of the diplomatic community, and the general public are hereby invited. Date 29th of December 2023. Time 10 a.m. prompt. Venue Sports Arena, Bende, Local Government Headquarters, Abia State. Join us as we mainstream peace in the Southeast. Our son is coming home.
It's time for First Bank's Win Big promo. 170 million naira up for grabs. Open or reactivate your First Bank account. Deposit and maintain a minimum of 5,000 naira for just 30 days, and the soft life begins. Transact up to 5 times on our digital channels, and guess what? You could be a lucky 100,000 naira winner each month. But wait, there's more. Deposit and maintain 50,000 naira each month for 4 months, or deposit 200,000 naira for 4 months, and you could stand a chance to win a whooping 1 million naira in the grand finale.
Don't miss your chance to win big with First Bank. This promo runs till February 23rd, 2024 and is open to new and existing account holders. Terms and conditions apply. Keep transacting, keep winning. You first. First Bank.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Centenary celebration of the evolution of political parties in Nigeria from 1923 to 2023, 100 years. In our democratic journey so far, a mission that midwifed the birth of nationhood and greatness. Exactly 100 years ago in 1923, as a crown colony, the enactment of the Clifford Constitution brought significant progress by introducing the elective principle in Nigeria. This led to an upsurge in political awareness, participation, and activities leading to the formation of the initial political parties. We have been through surgical knives of political differences and preferences, yet our destination remains the same. Today, we're standing tall as Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. We are political parties navigating through Nigeria's democratic journey. This is the year of our centenary, a year to celebrate commitment, tenacity, and patriotism in one Nigeria. IPAC, deepening and consolidating democracy.
The Council of our Fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
This is Alvarez. Foden, they're going to run it in. It is the classic.
And this could be a big moment for Sheffield United. Wolves have got players back, but it's in. Oh, that is stun strike.
Rodri to Erling Haaland. To Jack Grealish. His first goal in 20...
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
All right, you're welcome back. And a new regulatory framework is being developed to address rising indebtedness to digital money lenders known as loan apps. Let's join Vivian Izadiefe, who has this story and others on the business news.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Babatunde Erukera, expressed concerns that this has become necessary because of the level of indebtedness to the digital money lenders. He describes as a big industry issue, adding that while the Commission has succeeded in reducing abuse and harassment by the loan apps, Nigerians who take loans from these platforms have continued to default. Erukera said the rising debts could lead to the collapse of the digital lenders that are also playing critical roles in the economy.
Our regulatory focus is finding a way that money lenders can recover their loans in an ethical and fair way and lend money to people at affordable rates.
An increase in dollar supply to the country in 2024 will strengthen the value of the naira, as the federal government says it is focusing on what can stimulate the flow of foreign exchange into the economy. Director General Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabeze, further explained that the government is betting on the success of its policies, hence its positive stand on the exchange rates, as the revenues for the 2023 budget are on track and current expenditure ongoing. Meanwhile, Nigerian Air Force conducted an airstrike that destroyed 6 illegal refineries in Niger Delta, despite the festive season. According to the Air Force, the air operations against criminals in the Niger Delta and other parts of the country will continue unabated to eliminate the numerous challenges stifling the ease of doing business in the maritime sector. In another development, Nigeria to supply gas to South Africa in the first quarter of 2024. This, according to reports, marks the first such deal between the two nations, showcasing potential collaboration in the energy sector. The report further stated that Nigeria has the largest gas reserve in Africa. With business, Vivian Ezadefi.
All right, that was Vivian Ezadefi on Business News. Let's newspaper review is next. Don't go on.
All right, the newspaper review, it's here, and so is Chukwudi Obaja. Good to see you again.
Victor, good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm all right.
It gets colder by the day, but then that's the time of year.
And
Hello,
I
Claire.
get warmer.
Well, it's
warmer today.
It's only
no. It hit 21. 21 is usually the lowest for Abuja. 21.
But I'm not cold. That's what I mean.
Anyway,
Did you live in Jos for some time?
No.
You're acclimatized.
Let's not jump into our time this morning. I was just going to say it's only formal to respond good morning to you. Otherwise, it's been a very black Wednesday and a very sad week for Nigeria. But let's begin with the punch. Aye Datiwa takes over, and Tinubu governors say Akeredolu's death, big loss. It's on page 2. That's the lead story. Aye Datiwa lists Akeredolu's achievements, and the state governor's aides resign. Workers mourn. Akeredolu, a great fighter, says Tinubu. Governors, others, Ondo declares 3-day mourning. And the picture stories there are right in front of the paper. Trading at the bottom, Zamfara shot 11 markets where bandits sell stolen cattle on page 14. Police hunters kill 6 suspected kidnappers in Bauchi. It's on page 5. Ex-Speaker Naaba buried in Kanu. President, others mourn him. And trending just above the nameplate, Plateau massacre. Federal government vows justice. IG sends squad after killers. It's on page 14 as well. And federal government fines British American Tobacco $110 million, drops criminal charges on page 7. Victor.
All right, and I have the Daily Trust. Just below the nameplate, I have the triple headlines where page 23 talks of mishandling of CBN investigation report can create distrust, panic. That's according to experts. And Apex Bank assures depositors safety of funds. That's on page 23. And Edo 2024, Obaseki slashes Shaibu's budget. Deputy Governor insists on competency. That's on page 13. On page 20, how cyber attacks exposed Nigeria's IT security vulnerability in 2023. It's just a few days ago, last week or so, we discussed this cyber security as well. The big one is on Ayedatiwa being sworn in as Ondo governor, which Claire has dealt with from the Punch, and the demise of Naba and Akeredolu. And just at the bottom of the Daily Trust, bandits always a step ahead of government. That's according to the Sultan of Sokoto, with 3 riders. Embrace peace, stop killings, Shatima tells Plateau people. That's on page 6. ACF calls for state of emergency in banditry-prone communities. And finally, Northern reps seek support for victims.
2 big departures from Nigeria yesterday. No departure is little. Even when a baby dies, a human being has died. But former Speaker Umagali Naba was a big one in this country. Let alone Ondo State Governor, former Ondo State Governor, now late, Akeredolu. We can only say, may God receive their souls in peace. And in particular, the people of Ondo, may they harmonize effort towards self-development. Self refers to the state itself, because there was at a point some little acrimony over whether power should transmit to the deputy governor and all that. Let no one begin to say, now this has happened. Let's not do that. Otherwise, it will be an indirect way of maligning the dead. We must move forward. What has happened. May we not see that again. May we all live to 100 years.
Yesterday I was listening to some analysis about what happened in Ondo and the swearing in of the new governor and the reaction of the supporters of Ayedatiwa, and exactly the issue that you have raised about maligning the dead. And I think that the lawyer was a lawyer who actually raised that point of view. And I'm just wondering, would it be unconstitutional to tinker with the law in such a way that when such a sad development occurs in a state, I know that government can't be in a vacuum.
Yes.
You delay the swearing in on the day, maybe a day after, for the people to actually mourn the demise of that leader. I'm just wondering.
This is the law.
No,
that's why I said
that's why he's saying do we need to tinker with the law?
With the law.
But at the end of the day, what I'm going to ask is, what reprieve would the suggestion really bring? What has happened has happened.
Yes, but
earlier you put it behind
could create problems.
Yes. A state is a complex entity that needs immediacy in terms of actions to move it on and on forward. You understand? So I understand you, Claire.
There wouldn't be vacuum, because in that instance, it's either the speaker, assumes, closes the supposedly vacuum for that period. It's just a 24 hours.
He won't leave.
It's just to.
If you do that, he will take advantage.
You're going to stagnate a few things. You would think that there's no vacuum.
Yes.
But in terms of operational actions, there will still be a little stagnation. I think it's okay the way it is.
Raised that issue and talked about the manner in which the followers of the new governor celebrated that event.
Now, Claire, we don't have time, so let's quickly. I don't think we have more than 3 minutes. It's not just the Akeredolu incident. We started losing it in Africa in so many ways. There was a time when the entire community mourned a death. These days, it's not just Ondo, it's all over. People seem to have started losing compassion for people who pass away, forgetting that they themselves are not immortals. So we need civic re-education to let us know that it is still a situation where we are our brother's keeper. That's what something like what the Sultan was alluding when he talked about the just killings the other time. Yeah, he said lamentably that the bandits who seem to be ahead. You understand? Which is not good for us. Not in this day of technology. We should take advantage of many of the technological breakthroughs happening and preempt many of these things. But at the end of the day, I've switched from one topic to another.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it is about harmonious living between the so-called settlers and the so-called natives. That's what I call them when I talk about Africa. I tell people, you cannot come to a place and decide to ride roughshod on the people you met there, the so-called natives. Then I tell natives, any place that has developed on the surface of the earth, particularly in Africa, find out the people who developed it. It is usually the people you call strangers. The beautiful buildings are hardly built by the natives. So what does it tell us? We need one another. We need each other. Let us stop segregating and saying this one is this one. We are all human beings.
Anyway, Chukwudi, thank you. We wish the new governor, the best. He has started listing achievements. We do hope that
he will, harmony.
He will sustain. He will sustain the good works and of course improve on others.
Akeredolu was quite outspoken.
Yes. You know? Another story we'll quickly take a look at before we just call it wrap up this segment is the fine by the federal government, on a British American tobacco, $110 million, allegedly, for alleged infringements of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, National Tobacco Control Act, and sundry legal instruments, and it's not just BAT, that is infringing on our laws. There are other foreign entities that have very little regard for us. We need more of this.
We need more diligence, due diligence,
exactly,
to plug holes. When you're talking about plugging holes, people think it's only about the presidency, the National Assembly. No, you plug holes in every sector of the economy so that you conserve funds for development.
Exactly.
But talking about the tobacco people now, mine, I'm always a native man, is I don't get to hear the Surgeon General has warned that smoking is dangerous to health. Yes, that is dying. We were talking about the dearth of jingles the other time. Nobody seems to remind people that smoking could kill you.
No, but it's on the pack.
It's on the pack. It's no longer on radio and television.
You see? Who has time to read?
Who reads the pack?
So if you buy,
radio will disturb you, TV will disturb you.
That this is dangerous to your health. And if you decide to smoke, well, that's on you.
In addition,
Victor, I hope you don't smoke.
In addition,
you don't look it really.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, you understand, is saying BAT, that's the British American Tobacco, must subject itself to compliance and monitoring for a period of 24 months. Mandatory public health and tobacco control advocacy and provisions of written assurances.
Thank you, Claire. You hit it finally. That's it. We pray that they will be monitored again, because sometimes when the fine is paid, we say, where do we go from here?
And then connivance.
That's it. Let's trail them.
But even I think I don't have statistics, but there seems to be a decline in the in the rates at which people smoke now.
Have you carried out a survey?
That's why I said I don't have a survey, but from observation.
My friend said to make beer more acceptable.
Or maybe they are switching to
the alcoholic content has been reduced a bit. So they have made it a senior Coke, senior Fanta.
It depends on what the nation wants, really. We don't have a lot of time. It depends on what the nations want. You can go harder and make it more difficult. In India, for instance, you want to sell beer, you go through hell to get beer to drink openly.
That's a good
In fact, there's a community.
Openly. That's a good one.
There's a community.
And it's not because I don't drink. I want people to last long.
There's a community where you go to if you must take alcohol.
Get alcohol.
Go to that community. It's
you buy
safe
and go to your home.
Go there. You don't even go to your home. It's not even allowed in some countries.
How are the Oversabi people there reacting? You are infringing on our rights.
They already know. This has been there for long years.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. Let's remind you again of our topic. This morning we are looking at the incident in Plateau State, and of course renewed attacks in that state, and what can be done if we must to finally nip it in the bud, hopefully.
Nigeria, Africa's beauty on the Gulf of Guinea, blessed with natural landmass and wildlife reserve.
Nigeria, largest economy in Africa. Nigeria, famous accomplishments in entertainment and sports.
Nigeria, resourced with globally respected human capital.
Our uniqueness lies in our tenacity, our acumen a testament of our success.
At NTA, we are all forever proud to be the showcase channel of this positive energy and the reflection of the good in our nation.
The capacity to tell a nation's story will not have been possible without the support and patronage of the three arms of government.
Ministries, departments, agencies, corporate bodies, advertisers,
religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties,
and of course, you, our esteemed viewers.
Let's get set to make 2024
even greater. Together. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Something new is about to hit your imagination of TV. A brand new sundial with StarTime's inbuilt technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTime's antenna and satellite signal. StarTime Sundial TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTime's highest bouquet for free, automatic system update. More benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Sundial TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Milo! My most trusted toothpaste for kids.
So, most kids use this toothpaste, right?
Right.
Then, why do 7 out of 10 kids have cavities, sir? Because whatever this toothpaste has for cavity protection, isn't enough. Dabba Herbal contains clove. My mother says it contains eugenol, which is 99.9% effective in cavity protection. Look, no cavity. Where there's clove, there's no cavity.
In line with its mandate to identify and cater for the needs of senior citizens in Nigeria, the National Senior Citizens Center (NSCC) is introducing the Continuing Engagement Bureau (CEB), an innovative initiative that recognizes the untapped potential of senior citizens and provides a one-stop interactive platform that connects senior citizens with opportunities to utilize their skills and expertise in meaningful ways. NSCC invites senior citizens to be part of a vibrant database of experienced professionals, technocrats, and artisans from various fields of endeavor ready to continue to contribute to community. Are you 60 years and above? Services. The National Senior Citizens Center Continuing Engagement Bureau (CEB) connects you to opportunities. Interested senior citizens are invited. Go to www.nscc.gov.ng/CEB to register and fill out your unique profile in area of specialization, years of experience, skills, and preferred area of service engagement on voluntary or contract basis. And
football. I won't watch my own shows. Who go agree for who? Because of GoTV Stream, we know they fight for remote again, no?
GoTV Stream don't bring correct peace of mind.
Me sef go continue to watch that correct film for road.
Download the new GoTV Stream app and watch all your favorite shows as you dey carry waka. Sharply recharge your GoTV today and stream with cool mind. GoTV, love it.
26 through, still has the angle and has the finish.
And now Berardi, scuffed effort, but Enrique.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
All right, welcome back. Our correspondent Abdul Salam Jubro is ready to give us background reports before we begin our conversation.
Over the weekend, while many Nigerians were in the festive mood, news broke out that armed groups killed more than 100 people in a string of attacks targeting towns within Plateau State. The attacks took place in communities in 3 local government areas of the state, displacing over 10,000 people. Understandably, the attacks attracted strong condemnation by prominent groups and individuals, including President Bola Tinubu, who ordered a manhunt for the killers. However, this is not the first time such an incident is happening. According to the Plateau Peace Building Agency, since the year 2000, several major conflicts have been recorded. That includes the 2001 Jos crisis, the 2002 to 2004 Wase communal clash, the May 2004 Yelwa crisis, the November 2008 Jos crisis, the January 2010 Jos crisis, the 2012 Jos bombing, the 2021 destructions of farmlands, among others. Some analysts note that Plateau is one of several states that make up the ethnically and religiously diverse Middle Belt in Nigeria, where climate change and expanding agriculture has strained communities and increased tensions between herders and farmers. They maintain that the situation has defied several measures by past administrations to halt the trend, blaming the crisis on many factors, including disagreement over indigenship, just ownership, politics, ignorance, religion, unemployment, and sheer wickedness. Is there an end to the recurring conflicts in Plateau State? What must be done to bring back the glory the state once enjoyed as the home of peace and tourism? This will form the crux of discussions as guests speak to the recurring conflicts in Plateau State shortly.
All right, thank you, Abdusalam Jibril, for that background report. And seated right here with us in the studio to discuss renewed attacks in Plateau State is Dr. Kabir Adamu. He's a security risk management expert. So welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Good morning and Merry Christmas.
All right. Joining us in our Jos studio is Dr. Habila Joshak. He's retired DIG operations of the Nigerian police. We welcome you, retired DIG, to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
We also have, it's a full house today. Of course, that shows the importance of our conversation. So we also have joining us from our Jos studio, Major General Adofiku, retired, and his former Secretary General, retired Army, Navy, and Air Force Officers Association, RANO, Development Management and Security Consultant, Major General, Major Gabriel Adofiku. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Major Adofiku. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you, and again, NTA, for your delight in promoting me, even in retirement.
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. Thank you very much, sir. Also joining us this time via Zoom is General John Temlong. John Temlong is a familiar face on Good Morning Nigeria, first commander of Multinational Joint Task Force, former president of Alumni Association of National Defense College, and security consultant. General Temlong, once again, it's good to see you, and compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season, yeah. Compliments of the season in Nigeria, and good morning from my village here in Peel, Langtang North local government. Compliments of the season.
We also have joining us via Zoom, Musa Ibrahim Ashom. He's the Commissioner for Information, Plateau State. Honorable Commissioner, thank you very much for joining us. I see you haven't had enough rest, enough sleep. Thank you very much for finding time to join this program.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Okay. All right. And while we introduced the other guests out there, we have been joined by Senator Dickett Plang, who is representing Plateau Central Senatorial District in the Senate. We welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. And I must deeply apologize for coming very late.
No, we appreciate that you could make it, distinguished Senator. Let's start with the Commissioner for Information in Plateau State. Honorable Commissioner, please just give us an insight. What's the situation now in those affected areas, especially, Bokos and Barakanladi?
First of all, we're very, very sad as a state because we're a peace-loving people. We're very, very hospitable, very, very industrious. But on the eve of Christmas, which is the most important event as far as Plateau State is concerned, assailants, terrorists, daredevil attackers attacked our villages and left scores lifeless and destroyed means of livelihood. But we thank God that some persons escaped. If not, the story would have been more gorier than this, if there is any word like that in English. Now people are leaving their villages even after the attacks have subsided because they are scared. They do not know what will happen next. Yesterday, while we were in Bokos, even with the Senator Dicket Plank, when the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria visited, you could see that people are evacuating, people are leaving their communities, those that were able to get out with their lives. And when they narrate the stories to you, you begin to be scared because people you have lived with will bring other people from other communities to come and take away your life and take away your land. It's very, very disheartening, it's heartbreaking, and we cannot continue to have such a behavior in 2023. Nigeria should have these things in our past, not in our present, and maybe in the future again. So as a government, we are sad. As a people, we are sad. As a nation, we should be sad. And if the nation is sad with us, it will be great. And the only way that we experience this greatness is that this pogrom, this annihilation, this cleansing is stopped. Because in the next few days, we'll be in 2024. We shouldn't be recording these things over and over, year in, year out. It is unkind, it is unfair, it is ungodly, it is inhuman for people to just plan on how to attack their brothers and sisters. The questions our people keep asking, if people will act with this military precision to take over people's lives, to kill people, not minding their ages, not minding their sexes, not minding whether they've interacted and cohabited for a while. For example, you see a 3-month-old child being shot with a gun. You will see, yesterday we were in the hospital, a 12-year-old child yesterday just discovered that both his parents were killed by the assailants, and he has a bullet wound. You need to hear how he was gnashing. And if he grows with that mental scar, and he sees the people that they told him killed his parents, I don't know how he's going to interact with them. The social interaction is going to be affected. So as a government, as a people, we pray and hope that going forward, our assailants will stop these dastard acts. They will be arrested and prosecuted. Because if you are a law-abiding citizen, the government should protect you. If you are a lawbreaker, the government should prosecute you. Once this is not done, you will create a state of anarchy. Because our people have been killed, we always count the losses.
Honorable Commissioner, very well. We have a large house here today, so we want to be as brief and compact as possible. Now, the number 2 citizen, was in Plateau State yesterday, as well as the distinguished senator. We've also heard words coming from Mr. President himself and the directives. So far, how much comfort, excuse me, have all of this, been able to bring, and what has the state government itself done so far to bring some form of relief, to the affected families and villages?
Visits bring some level of succor. You will know that there is an attempt by government to protect you, which is the responsibility of government anyway. And the visit by the Vice President is the one that will restore hope to a large extent, because he didn't come alone. He came with the National Security Advisor, he came with the Chief of Defense Staff, and a lot of directors in military agencies. And our people are not very concerned with this kind of visits. Our people would like to have a peaceful atmosphere. Our people, at the end of everything, will want to leave and they will let others leave. That is natural. As a government, you understand how Nigeria works very well, clear. The governor cannot command any military or the civil defense. All you need to do is to collaborate with them. All you need to do is to give them logistics. All you need to do is to give them intelligence and information. And we've been doing that. We've had a series of state security council meetings, and the Operation Rainbow that we used to have in the past that was very, very strong. We have resuscitated it. We have trained our young men in the area of intelligence gathering, and that is the best you can do. So we are expecting that, like it happened in Yobe, in Adamawa, and Borno states, where civilian young people were brought into the military, they were carried along in the defense and protection of their communities when they call them civilian joint task force. They should bring our people to profile them, take them to the DSS, profile them, because when they see strange movements in their communities, they will spot them easily and easier than the conventional military, the conventional police. So as a people, we are hoping that young people from Plateau State will protect their land better.
All right, Honorable Commissioner, we thank you for your opening comments. Let's come back here to the studio where Senator Dickett Plank is seated. You were also at the scene yesterday when the Vice President visited. Now, why does it seem that this crisis doesn't end? Why does it linger or at best reoccurs? When you think, oh, there's peace, it suddenly comes up. What do you put it down to?
Once more, I deeply apologize for coming very late. And I must appreciate NTA all the time because you are so concerned about the peace on the plateau and Nigeria at large. As rightly said by the Commissioner and all of you here, I was also at the scene with the Vice President and the National Security Advisor and other top government functionaries. But as said by the Commissioner, yesterday's issue was unique and unprecedented. For several times when things happen like that, it takes the federal government a long time to respond. But what happened yesterday was comforting. But I must assure you that why is it lingering so long? Why is it that sometimes you feel it has come to pass, it reappears again? For me, I feel that the attitude of trying to arrest and punish criminals is not done. How would you expect that at the moment and simultaneously over 10 communities are attacked, and at the end of the day, nobody physically is arrested and punished? It gives room for the criminal to repeat such. But if there's a situation where within this event happening for over 10 villages at once, and then arrests are met, physical persons are gotten, they are able to say one or two things. Yeah, and then they are appropriately punished. It will deter. But when it happens, you say government is on top, and that the issue, they will be fished out. They are not fished out. So when they are not fished out, the criminal has confidence that they can always do this thing and escape.
And get away with it.
And get away.
All right.
Yes, sir. So how I wish. But again, I must definitely and very sincerely commend all arms of government, from the local to the state and national. It is amazing that within 48 hours, we saw the real presence of federal government at site, visiting affected victims, visiting hospitals, bringing succor, talking, shaking with affected people.
Can you share with us the context? What exactly? What were the words? Coming from the representatives of government to the people.
The Vice President.
What was the message? The core message.
The Vice President spoke compassionately on behalf of government, on behalf of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and told them that they are in this thing, that it is about them, and that they have the responsibility, their duty is to provide peace to all Nigerians. That he is so compassionate about what's happening on the plateau, that he knows Plateau, he has stayed in Plateau. Plateau is an environment where God has blessed. In fact, he said it is heaven on earth. And this thing happening on the plateau is just happening to all of us in Nigeria. And that all efforts, and he told us he is coming back. They must talk about this thing. This thing has to come to an end. I want to assure you that physically, from the heart, for me, there was a lot of, I wouldn't want to use, but I would want to say, our hope was renewed.
Okay, let's pause you for a while. Major Gabriel Adofiko, I want you to come into the conversation now. You look at the number of villages affected, over 20, and you know, and the manner in which the attack was done. As the senator said, no apprehension. What can you tell us about the, you know, the dynamics under which that was planned and executed?
Thank you very much. First of all, permit me to say this again. I know I have said it on a couple of instances when we go through this kind of horrendous experiences in the nation, that the crisis we are discussing today is not a plateau crisis. It's a Nigerian crisis. A situation where over 100 citizens, and like you did say, over 20 communities were coordinatedly and synchronizingly invaded. That is a national security matter. However, in the circumstances of the happenings, first let me give you this scenario that might help our understanding. Plateau is not like, in fact, Plateau is a very open savanna territory, countryside, where you have, at this season, very, very insignificant, less than 0.5% of any form of thick forestation on the land. In other words, it is visible from the air. It is visible from the land. Secondly, the general deployment on the plateau, yes, we have the mountains and the hills and all that, that could be obstacles to quick intervention on the land. But again, we also know that running to over 10 years now, we have set up a quick intervention force called the Special Task Force, made up of all the arms of the various armed forces and the police. In other words, the paramilitary. However, it brings to question, what is our intervention time plan? At international level, people were thinking about 6 minutes. When you get a report, within 6 minutes you should be there. Other nations, developed nations, are working hard to reduce the 6 minutes to 4 minutes. As a nation, in recent times, some 1 month ago, a city was invaded by hoodlums for over 1.5 hours, and our reaction was low. So coming to our situation on the plateau, I had expected by now, without sounding emotional, Nigeria should be on half-mast flag flying. I had expected by now that the headbands of our print news media, when I was listening to your newspaper reviews, should be carrying a black banner So much for national concern. Our local situation on the plateau, if you've monitored it carefully from your historical narration some few minutes back, it did not begin with the kind of level of intensity and expanse we are going through now. If I remember clearly, in 2001, it began with just the Mighty Jets football match experience in Jos City. And from there was what you call the first Jos crisis. And it metamorphosed into the Jos crisis of 2003, 2005, 2008, where it became a Jos metropolis crisis, but gradually shifted to interior community crisis that completely takes a new coloration.
All right. We thank you very much for your input already. And let's quickly get to retired DIG Habila Joshak, who has joined us via Zoom. And let me ask, why does it seem, the senator did say that the problem is that there is no arrest, there is no price to be paid by anybody, nobody's held accountable. Why does it seem that this is happening unchecked and unmitigated?
Yes, it is so because there wasn't an anticipation of any crisis, which is wrong. Usually, those flashpoints are supposed to have security deployment at that axis to monitor. But I know too that they will tell you that manpower, whether it's the police or the army or the civil defense and what have you, that the number of security agencies that would be deployed will only be deployed when already something has happened, and which is wrong. Yesterday visit of the Vice President representing Mr. President is a very good, is an assurance that this time around things will be done the right way. And in doing that, you will discover that Barkin Ladi has had it several times. Bokos also have had some of this. But this time, it was highly coordinated because it was simultaneously carried out. It was not done in piecemeal. And so it means that there is failure of intelligence, and that's why we're saying that something different is likely to happen, because the National Security Advisor that we know very well, a man that have also proved himself in the police while he was there, I think that something different should happen. Otherwise, it is very wrong, because you talk about Barkin Ladi, we've had it severally. If you go to Bokos, you will see a flat land. You will see a land that is not hindered by trees or what have you. And yet, these people had the guts to spend all the time and went from one hut and one house to another to do all of this and escaped. Is wrong. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with the deployment of our security agencies within that axis, because it wasn't anything that would be allowed to go, because leaving Bokos to get into Barkin Ladi, it's a road that is busy, and it is a place that you can easily meander. And so there are a lot of questions, to be asked, and until we are able to agree that security is very expensive and that intelligence gathering and sharing is also very, very important. Deployment through the use of visibility so as to respond to distress call at short notice must be put in place. And security is very expensive. The government will have to come in, because most of these agencies do not have what it takes to continue to make deployment the way they would want.
Thank you, Dr. Joshak. Thank you for the points that you have raised. Let's return to the studio here. And Dr. Kabir Adamu, of course, is a risk management expert. That's what I'm going to ask you. Major Adofiko, indicated that this should be a national security matter. And I'm going to ask, could there be any element in the nature of the coordination that could suggest an external an internal collaboration and therefore poses as a national security matter?
Oh yes, with all level of responsibility, where over 100 citizens are killed in any manner, it is a national security issue and should be treated as such. The reaction by the federal government, the number 2 citizen went there representing the president, as we were told. The national security advisor too went there. And so it tells me that there is a recognition that it is a national security matter. However, what worries me is why are we not using the structures that we have within the national security architecture to address the issue? As an example, the National Security Council should, I mean, I don't know of any country that would lose up to that number of people. In my consultancy, between the 23rd and 25th, we were in our database, 300 Nigerians died across the Federation. And there is a single element with the death of those 300 Nigerians, non-state actors who are armed or who are challenging the supremacy of the use of force by the state. It's the same thing in Plateau State, the same thing in Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Taraba. And if you look at the disparity in distance in all of these locations, and then all of these things happening, it tells you that our very existence as a state is being challenged by these very persons. So yes, it is a matter of national security urgency and should be treated as such. Those structures that exist within our national security architecture should be used to address this issue. And I'm very happy we're seated with the senator. There are deep questions that need to be asked. We have Operation Safe Haven, like the Major mentioned. It was formed in 2010. What was the mandate of that operation? That operation started in Plateau State. It was expanded to parts of Bauchi and parts of southern Kaduna. I do not know in any part of the world where a stopgap operation will be existing 13 years after it was set up, yet the very issue why it was set up to address has not been addressed.
Victor asked the question. I know General Temlong is holding on. Victor asked the question earlier on why the issues, especially in Brekelade and Bokos, and then the whole area of Plateau, had become intractable.
The answer is simple. Our justice system has failed to address the challenge. The traditional justice system that we grew up, I grew up in Plateau State, so I know Plateau State very well. All these locations that are being discussed, I know them. The traditional justice system that in the past could address those issues has collapsed almost completely, and it's a responsibility of our politicians. They need to take that
to fix this.
Yes, they need to.
All right.
The second element is the criminal justice system. Apart from the traditional justice system that is supposed to arrest and punish offenders. And then thirdly, the government institutions. And by this, when I say government, I'm talking of both the executive and the legislative arm. Where all of these other systems have failed, the legislature is supposed to come in its oversight function, as an example, and ask critical questions. How, in God's name, can over 100 people be killed? And then we're seated and asking questions. No.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Kabir Adamu. Let's head over to Zoo, I understand, to join General John Temlong, who has been waiting. General Temlong, I thank you very much for your patience. I just want to ask, because all we have been saying so far is how we should react. Why can't we preempt? And I ask, let's begin from scratch. What do these people want? Who are they? What do they want? Is there something that they are looking for that they are not getting. Because if it's a system of okay, there's something they are looking for and they are not getting it from the society, then we may begin as well to look at how we can satisfy everybody and bring peace. Who are these people and what do they want?
Well, thank you very much. Let me, first of all, condole with all those who have lost their loved ones. Our heart reaches out to them. The important thing you have just asked, I think this is the most important question you have asked, because we're all talking about reactions. Unless we get the narrative right, it's like in the military operations all over the world. If you do not get your narrative right, then you will be giving a wrong solution. It's just like a doctor who has not been able to diagnose what is wrong with his patient, and he starts applying medication. It will just be a trial and error thing. And I think this is the crux of what do these people want. And let's set the narrative right. Let the government get the narrative right, and let us stop politicizing crime. Crime is a crime, and it should be dealt with according to the laws of the land. You see, once there is a collapse of the social order, then a lot of these things happen. Once you have people who come into government and believe that being in government itself is an end to itself or ends the means, is wrong. Because a lot of them came in from different fields and they have not had any training on national security decision-making process. They have not been trained on the national security architecture of this country and how it responds. They have not even had a look at some of the national security documents that are put in place to protect the citizens. The national defense policy, the national security strategy, the national counter-terrorism strategy, all have laid out policies on how citizens can respond or citizens can help in coming up. Citizens can help in fostering the roles of the citizen in national security and the role of governments at all levels, the subnationals, the state government and the local governments. Today, do the local governments exist in Plateau? I don't think they are functional. What you have is that you have a sole administrator running a local government, because they don't even have councillors. They are not working. Now, the state government itself, even if they give you, the governor today, a platoon of troops, you do not have the ability to command because you don't even know how to command them. So the question of saying that you don't have command over troops is wrong. The commander-in-chief, who is the president, delegates his authority. Read the Constitution again and see, he delegates his authority to an officer of the armed forces, and that is the CDS and the service chiefs. So what we need to do is that let us find out what is wrong. Now, if you look at what happened during the Hamas war, at the start of it, as highly sophisticated as Israelis are, and even with the Mossad and the highly known secret services that they have, the Hamas were able to overwhelm them and surprise them. But what happened? Citizens, even in the kibbutz, because you look at the setup of the Israeli kibbutz system, they are self-defending and self-sustaining systems. Citizens responded. It took almost a whole day for the Israeli armed forces to respond. You cannot just sit down and think. There's a response time for emergency services is different from the response time from the military to respond. So it took almost that, but they were able to roll back. So the priority was on rolling back. And I think what President Tinubu has done by sending in a very high-powered delegation made up of the Vice President, the National Security Advisor, and the Chief of Defense Staff, it means the thing has escalated to a national security issue. Oh my God.
General Temlong, I know you're still there. I know you're still there. And I want to throw another question because a major sore point. Okay, let Major Adofiku, take this for us before we come back to the studio here. A major sore point in this whole, debacle is the fact that, an attack like this was carried out in over 20, villages in 2 major local government areas. People were killed, yet the security operatives were neither proactive nor was even able to make any single arrest, no matter which divide. Some time ago, I think during the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, the GOCs were made commanders of those operations, such that they have, the capacity to be able to make deployments, so that operations commanders do not have to wait for the GOC to get orders from the GOCs and all that. How do we explain, these gaps in the reactions of our security agents?
Thank you very much for that observation. It also intrigues as many of us observers in the same light, but the reality on the ground might tell a different story. There you begin to look into what is our logistics capacity, because like the British general during the Second World War would say, battles are won and lost from the quartermaster. The quartermaster is your logistics capability. What logistics capability do we have on ground to be able to work on this widespread, simultaneous, impromptu attacks or invasion of communities? Now, when you take it from that understanding, you can now begin to interrogate the statistical definitions of what we have, what can be applied, and in what time frame can this application be estimated to become effective. That, I know it's not a television discussion. However, I want to say this. There is a template developed by the United Nations on indigenous ethnic communities survival system. And this template has been adapted and brought and is in circulation in Nigeria, particularly in the northern part of the country, under an organization called the Conference of Northern Autochthonous Ethnic Development Associations, called the Community Early Warning and Response System. I say this because no matter the strength of the military, or no matter the strength of the formal security agencies you have on the ground, you must have a system, a proactively disposed system. And that is why the CEW and RS system, that's the Community Early Warning and Response System, that template, for us on the plateau, I think we need to quickly adapt it and place it so that it would enhance that proactive disposition that everybody seems to talk about. However, in the circumstances on our hands, I want to say this very modestly, very humbly, that we need to question our intelligence gathering and management system, particularly from a synergized perspective, not just from the combat perspective. That is the little I can take on that.
All right, thank you, Major Adofiku. I hear General Temlong is back. General Tamlang, please, Victor asked a very fundamental question earlier on what exactly the attackers want. Do we have an understanding of what it is? Because yes, because you know, those who have you know, made their comments, everyone seem to have ruled out other issues. You know, it's not a religious issue, it's not a probably farmer header because they look like this is just an attack. So do we have an understanding of what these attackers really want?
Well, thank you very much, Claire. I think we need to interrogate even from uh, the empirical evidence on ground now. Is that if you go to areas like Gashish and the rest, what they have done, and some areas in Riom, is that they have grabbed the lands of the locals there. They have completely wiped them off from that area, and they are the ones occupying the place. So from that empirical evidence, it appears they are looking for land, or they want to take over the communities. But then we need to go beyond that, because we have to interrogate. It is when you arrest them and get the masterminds, then you start interrogating and finding out what actually is their motive. Is it the land of the people they want, or is it that they want to ethnically cleanse those people from the earth of the face of this earth? These are things that has to be done, and it requires a whole of government approach. And it's very fundamental, you see, for us to understand that there are Nigerian domesticated documents that deal with these things. It's not going to bring a UN template. No. We have done these things. We are the authors of these documents. I am part of the author of being part of the authors. Is for any government to come in place to domesticate and then build their capacity in using these documents along with the security architecture of this country. You bring a UN template here that will not work on our own security architecture, will not work. Now, the roles of citizens, that's what I said, there's a role for citizens who will give you intelligence. It's supposed to be structured. Who and who do they report to? And what? It will be too early for us to start putting judgment on the STF, because what is the strength of the troops do you have there? We have conventional police that are in those local governments. There's a DPO, there are area commanders. Have they reacted? What is the strength? Even if you want to look at it, we discussed police reforms here some few weeks ago on this same platform. What is the strength of the police in the division to be able to react to such attacks spontaneously? Are they enough? In some divisions, you have just about 60. Here that I'm talking to you right now in Peel, there are only 2 policemen policing the whole of this community of about how many people? So how will they react to an attack? I think there must be some realism on what we're talking about. What strength is the STF? Are they there to fight? No, the STF is not supposed to fight. The STF is supposed to be a stopgap thing to stop. The policemen there, are they supposed to fight? Do they even have the numbers? What of the MOPOL, the kinetic arm of the police? Are they there? Are they in enough quantity? Can you be able to mobilize them to reach that place? I think these are the areas that once you sit down and do a force analysis, you'll be able to come out, because it will just involve the government at the local and state level, sitting down with the security agencies and some security experts who can come in as volunteers like us to help them see how we can actually help the citizens to defend themselves and to be able to protect themselves by giving early warning system. We did these things with Professor Eligu's IGSR. All the papers are lying down there in his office, Professor Eligu. It was being sponsored by NSRP and the British Council, DFID. But you know, because in our own system, when the government comes, they don't want to hear anything about the former government. These things like come at us. We need to go back and look at, because things have started happening before. It's not new. And the problem is that unless we are able to get to the roots of these problems and find out and diagnose and deal with those who are criminals, remove them from looking around the societies and let the free people to move, will continue to move in this circle, because the moment you use kid gloves in dealing with criminals, you are emboldening them. So we need to deal with criminals the way they should be dealt with. We should stop politicizing crime. In fact, the politicians must rein in themselves and make sure that.
General Temlong, thank you very much. I think I get your point, and I just want to quickly get back to the Commissioner for Information and Communication of Plateau State. You had said earlier that there's not much that the governor can do, but this has been faulted by a couple of our guests here today who say that the state government cannot just capitulate and say there's not much we can do beyond giving information. Somebody has indicated that the near absence of the local government system is a problem in itself. It makes it difficult to be able to, because the places they attack are villages, the rural areas. And so I have also had a conversation, private conversation, with a now retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, who told me that when we were discussing state police issues, that the governor has the commissioner loyal to him and committed to his own directives. And that's why you have meetings at that level, similar to what is obtainable at the national level. So how much more can the state government do, and why are you not doing them? Why is there near absence of the local government system which could take care of these issues at the grassroots?
Thank God that you are speaking to a former councillor. I know that councillors cannot stop people from killing. If they want to kill, councillors can do nothing about it. When I hear the general say it is because there are no structures in the local government, there's no how in Nigeria that you have a vacuum at the local government. There are persons manning the local government, so that is erroneous. It is misleading for you to say there are no persons in the local government. Maybe there are no elected, but that is a matter that is before a competent court of law. So I wouldn't belabor myself in talking about that. But at the local government level on the plateau, there are no vacuums. And again, I didn't say we cannot do enough. We have done a lot. We have done enough. We have given logistics to the security agencies. We've had interfaces with them. You can see that in the heydays of this government, in the beginning of this government, we had the chief of army staff come to Mangu. We've had the Inspector General of Police come to Nigeria. We've had interactions, interface, and all of that. We shouldn't be politically correct when we are on national TV. Every of them, all the participants in this conversation know that the governor does not have the command to give to any military structure. For example, if there's crisis in Mangu, all you need to do is to inform the GOC, the commander of Operation Safe Haven. And if it says he's waiting for command from above, what do? Even the commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, all you need to do is to give him information, give him intelligence. The idea of commanding him to go to the field will come from elsewhere. That is why we are demanding and asking for state police. So when we come on air, we should state the facts the way they are. We shouldn't be academic about certain issues. Our people are not concerned about whether we are the ones giving command or it is coming from above, or people want to be secured. That is the bottom line. For us as a people, we prefer to live, and we've been allowing others to live. Like you said, when our assailants come, they come for our lives. After they've taken our life, they take our land. So for 13 years, Dr. Kabir has said the Operation Safe Haven has been here. By now, they must have studied the way our assailants operate. They must have studied the way our assailants take over lands and all of that, and provide a lasting solution to it. I'm not here on national TV to begin to blame left or right. As a government, what we are after is solution. And you know, His Excellency Barrister Kelem Manasseh Mutwang is very, very proactive. When things like this happen, he doesn't fold his arms. Just 2 days after this incident, we have a high-powered delegation from the presidency, the vice president, the national security advisor, the chief of defense staff, all coming to the scene of the attacks. And it tells you that solution is going to come. But our people, like I said, are not after grammar. They are not after academics. All they want is practicability. They want to see these things come to an end. We were in the hospital yesterday. You see people losing their eyes, people losing their limbs, people losing their hands, people losing their legs. There was a case of a man whose leg was fractured. He was just discharged from the university teaching hospital 2 weeks ago. When the assailants came, he couldn't move. He asked them to spare his life. They refused. They had to slice his neck, cut off his hand, cut him in places, and touch his room. But God, in His mercies, kept him alive. We do not like to have these gory stories. All we are after is for our people to live peacefully. If you know the history of Boko's local government very well, you know that these people want to plunge us into abject penury. The Bokos people are largely farmers. Even if you give them civil service jobs that they pay 30, 40, 50,000 naira, they don't take it. Graduates in Bokos sometimes don't even want white collar jobs. They like to take what their land brings. For example, when they farm their maize, they reinvest the proceeds into Irish potato. This is the season for harvesting Irish potato, and you can see that they are being attacked.
All right. I thank you, Honorable Commissioner, for Information and Communications, Plateau State, for your points. We'll pause here and go on a quick break. When we return, we'll get back to the other issues that are at stake. Stay with us.
Nigeria, Africa's beauty on the Gulf of Guinea, blessed with natural landmass and wildlife reserve.
Nigeria, largest economy in Africa. Nigeria, famous accomplishments in entertainment and sports.
Nigeria, resourced with globally respected human capital.
Our uniqueness lies in our tenacity, our acumen a testament of our success.
At NTA, we are all forever proud to be the showcase channel of this positive energy and the reflection of the good in our nation.
The capacity to tell a nation's story will not have been possible without the support and patronage of the three arms of government.
Ministries, departments, agencies, corporate bodies, advertisers,
religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties,
and of course, you, our esteemed viewers.
Let's get set to make 2024
even greater. Together, Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
What did they give you joy this holiday?
Better your love for fire. Now that one they give me joy.
Me, as I deal with my correct customer, they watch correct African magic film.
My joy is when I'm on holiday and getting my favorite gifts.
Popsy, you know, son of people they bring to your pass.
Yes. Our joy, not my joy.
Yes, sir. Now all round joy with better Naija shows, Premier League football, kids shows, and plenty more. Sharply recharge your Go TV today and enjoy this holiday. Go TV, love it.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Nigeria means unity.
Nigeria means freedom to me.
Nigeria means greatness to me.
Nigeria is indivisible. There is nothing you can do. We all have to savage it together and learn to love each other. We are indivisible.
As a mother and a leader, I will always preach for peace and unity in this country, because that is the only thing that will give us progress. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand, and it is the woman that does that.
This is Alvarez. Foden, they're going to run it in. It is the classic.
And this could be a big moment for Sheffield United. Wolves have got players back, but it's in. Oh, that is some strike.
Rodri to Erling Haaland. To Jack Grealish. His first goal in 20.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Welcome back. Let me quickly bring distinguished Senator Plank into our conversation. You are from Bukos.
It's one of my
your senatorial yes,
a very immediate local government.
Local government. Now, General Temlong, maybe suggesting land as a fundamental, issue in this whole attacks. Is there anything that could further indicate, grazing, search for grazing routes as a probable factor in this whole incident? If you look at the whole of that northern central plateau, where these attacks have been dominant, I understand the vegetation of that area is quite suitable for grazing purposes.
Yeah, you're honestly right. You are right to think that way. I would like to make a very small comment, man. I think we definitely need to appreciate the abilities of our security forces to some extent. We also need to appreciate the limitations of the civil government. And I just feel that we are not considering this thing so much from a nationalistic point of view. Otherwise, at this technological period, these events cannot happen. And we won't say we will not apply technology even to unearth the criminals. In terms of drones, miners use drones to survey. I feel we are appreciating the presence of federal government because we feel after this hope created, something will happen. We're expecting. Let us not, this hope that is in us, with the immediate presence of government, Vice President, Chief of Defense Staff, National Security Advisor, and all other security agencies that were present promptly. For us, their minds have been pricked. But if their minds are pricked, there are expectations. Let me come back with the thing, man.
Yes, you know why I asked? Because I believe if it is for grazing purposes, then there must be a way of resolving. So and the federal government in the past have made suggestions.
I believe very sincerely that it's about land. And what are the uses of the land? Farming, grazing, because grazing is agriculture. Why do I believe, just as said, you find lands where this crisis took place, the indigents are chased out, and the place are occupied. So it means we want the land. And you know, fortunately, with our terrain and the nature of our lands, the climate is good for animals, climate is good for agriculture, and again, with population increment generally, I believe that grazing as an act of agriculture is in the interest of the criminals.
But you have been living together for a long time.
That's what I want to
So how have, in the past, how were you able to deal with these issues? And why is that system failing now?
It is failing. Initially, somebody spoke about traditional.
Yes.
You know that the place of the traditional ruler has eroded in our constitution. It has eroded. In those days, things are settled by traditional rulers, heads of clans. People are punished and they obey. But it's very difficult for a traditional lawyer to say he is punishing you, bring a gout.
No.
You will report him. Who is he to ask for a gout? Under which subsection of the law that is asking for a gout? So they are no more in charge as it used to be at those periods. Unless later on, as people are agitating, there should be fundamental rules, constitutional role of traditional rulers in our constitution. Now, you wonder, these people are coming from where? Passing through which community? But I tell you again, if it is Fulani, we grew up with Fulanis. We take their kwasam. We near Maniritari, we eat food together. Very peaceful. The ordinary Fulani we grew up with are not troublesome. But I believe that our relationship is no more as cordial and as reliable as it used to be. Probably somebody thinks that he has a brother somewhere and he can speak to a brother somewhere. If we are what we used to be, honestly, I want to tell you, the highest crime a Fulani will do for you is that probably his cattle enter your farm. And if he's invited by a traditional ruler, he listens and he pays. And lives go. And we apologize to each other. But what we are seeing now, it's more of an external connection. So for me, land grabbing, I would say yes. Because most of the people that come to occupy the land are not the people we used to stay together. Which means that it's more of an expansion.
Right.
So for me, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no.
I wish that criminality should be treated independent of tribe, independent of political party, independent of nationality. If we nip it from the back at that point, we will find more of peace. But if we protect somebody because we feel it's our own, we will not get to the right route. Why? If these people appear and they are ruthlessly crushed, they will not appear again.
That's why when we come back, I know you want to talk to. That's why Dr. Kabir will talk to us, because he raised the issue of, our criminal justice system, and that, I mean, the justice system as a whole, also helping to exacerbate this crisis.
We need. Yes. I know I'll not get chance to talk again. I think those spots, we've agitated that those spots, we should not be having. Let us have permanent security established at those spots. So that the entry spots, when you have a permanent security forces, Mopol, barracks, at those places, coming in and going out will be very difficult. I wish that this present regime, with the hope they've created in our mind, all of us, even the National Assembly, all the northern senators, we met, and we discussed about this crisis, and we said we must all be involved. Senator Ningi,
but even some people, are not, expressing the same confidence in the ability or capacity of the military to even provide the security you're asking, because they are questioning. They are questioning. You understand? The role of security operators, even in this. Why? I mean, by the questions we've asked, why were arrests not made? Why did intelligence fail? Why were they not able to dictate? To know. Please,
all
Victor,
of those.
go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to quickly get to retired DIG Habila Joshak again. We've talked a lot about what is happening, how it's happening, but I am particularly concerned about finding a lasting solution, because it may seem that each time there is peace on the plateau, at the end of the day, it turns out to be, fragile and temporary. How do we find a lasting solution to this menace beyond reacting all the time? It's fine to react, it's fine to show concern, but how do we react? Because by the time you are reacting, by the time you are showing concern, lives have been lost and they will never be returned.
Simple. One of the steps that we should take to ensure that this incident does not occur is our ability to get the communities together and get the attackers. Because when they came, they had this very one, eyewitness said they saw them with some people who are pointing to them as to which house should they attack. In that case, we need to bring together these people, because a lot of them, the headers and the communities who are also around there, you bring them together, let there be unity, let them be talked to. And again, the Nigerian police is not properly equipped. Not properly equipped because there are shortages in a lot of the items that they would have used. Remember, we're supposed to have not just one police station in Bokos. We're supposed to have more of that. If you look at the terrain and look at the landmark. We're also supposed to have vehicles that will move this personality. These things are not there. The number of the security out there is the one that the Commissioner of Police can provide. And so we need to look at all this. We need to ensure that we become proactive. We need to know what is likely to happen, because it is not true that this incident that has happened, nobody knew. But those who pick those small incident or small intelligence or information would not be able to give that out, because he might not see a police officer around. In Bokos, we need to have, like any other place, more of the security agencies. The military are there in aid of the police, and they have their training, and their training also is to deal with a very higher and more robust kind of threat. But you see them now, taking a lot of responsibility because the police are not well equipped. That is the truth. And if you ask them here, they're not well equipped. They should be equipped, and then there should be more police station and police posts into the interior, so that if anything is about to happen, this we will pick, and then action will be activated, and then all of these killings and this will be reduced to the barest minimum.
Dr. Abila Joshak, thank you. Thank you. Dr. Kabir Adamu, again, just addressing the issue of civil criminal justice system. Will that be enough to address this crisis? Some time ago, government came up with a proposition of resolving this issue of grazing matters. And I also recall that the immediate past governor of Plateau State also tried to, encourage ranching and all that. Could that also be a solution?
Yes, because of time, I would be very brief in my response. Number one, yes, the effectiveness of our criminal justice system can help serve as a deterrence. The senator did mention this earlier on. If the criminal justice system is able to arrest and punish offenders irrespective of their identity or their political affiliation, then it's a beginning point. But there are more that we need to do. And I want to pick up on the renewed hope agenda by President Tinubu. There are a couple of things that have come out very clear. I'll quickly mention them. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. If leaders can embrace these 3 points, once you are a leader for the entire community that you superintend over. So bring everybody along, listen to the views of everybody, and provide the 3 elements of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Number 3, President Tinubu did sign a performance bond with his ministers. Now, under that performance bond, there's meant to be performance measurement and then consequence management. What it means is that the security agencies should have key performance indicators, and I would urge the Senate to embrace that. By now, they should be able to invite all the heads of the security agencies. As you are presenting your budgetary requirement, present to us your KPIs. You're asking for ₦1 million. What are you going to do with it? So that they are able to measure that performance over time. We have a situation in Plateau State, and we are discussing 3 days or 4 days into the incident, not a single person has been arrested, and we are discussing it. So that's very important. Number 4, climate change. The adaptation element within that would address climate change. The government need to stick to it. And then number 5, which is addressed to the commissioner who says the governor cannot do a lot. He can do a lot. They should look at what the Lagos state is doing, look at what Edo state is doing. The governor, yes, operationally, I don't expect him to direct the security heads, but from a management and strategic point of view, during their security council meetings, if they don't know, they should engage. General Tenglong is there. He's talked about 3 documents. I'm here. I'm willing, pro bono, to support them in understanding the security management function at this subnational level. And then there are so many other things embedded in all of these things that I've mentioned. But at the end of the day, it is about accountability. Every political leader should know that he is accountable to the fact. What does the Constitution, Section 14, subsection 2 of our Constitution says? The protection of lives and property.
Why are we averse to ranching in our system?
We're not averse. The Polaco initiative, which the Vice President has been talking about since he was sworn in, has an element of ranching in it. But there are issues that need to be addressed. Unfortunately, the situation, what happened in Benue State, does not help us. So there are issues that need to be addressed. Land administration, which we've not discussed in our conversation, is also an issue that needs to be looked at. If we want to go into ranching, there are key questions about land administration that would need to be addressed. In Plateau State, none of us has mentioned this, but the issue of settler and then indigents also need to be addressed, because there is a political element to that. And sadly, and I said this post the February and March elections, the divisive politics that we saw in Plateau State, the consequence is what we are living with today. How do we address the consequence of that divisive politics? Mobilization was done through some negative elements, and it has left a sore taste in the mouth of some people in Plateau State. That also needs to be addressed.
All right, I think we just take the last question from, we wouldn't have enough time now, from the senator. How, going forward, how do you hope to address the issue of eroding of the traditional, powers of the traditional system?
I think that probably by the grace of God, there will be a lot of constitutional amendment, a successful one. And in that amendment, it is very fundamental that a constitutional role should be given to the Traditional Council. I think things like that will be done. And again, we have also resolved to have more interactive sessions with our various communities, and then prick out what is in their mind, and then bring it to bear, so that, our constitutions are supposed to come from the norms of the people, normal ways of life of the people. We need to really deepen ourselves to know what people want, so that our constitution should be in such a way that it will make us more united, more progressive, and again, more peaceful. So I think these are some of the things that would need to be done.
Okay. Senator Dickett Plong,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, for coming on the program. Even though you preempted us, we came back to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And Dr. Kabir Adamu, thank you very much for always being here to discuss these issues.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So too for our guests that are not in the studio, DIG Abila Joshak, General Temlong, the Commissioner Asham, and all of you. We thank you very much for being on the program today. Your thoughts, we hope, will go a long way in addressing the issues that are at stake. Let's get some sports on Good Morning Nigeria. Okay, foreign, I'm told. Let's get some foreign news on Good Morning Nigeria.
Zambian Foreign Minister Stanley Kakubo has resigned amid suspicions surrounding a business deal with a Chinese businessman, according to statements from the presidency of the Southern African nation. Having taken office in September 2021, Mr. Kakubo declared his decision to step down in a letter citing malicious allegations linked to a business transaction. This move followed the circulation of a viral video showing 2 individuals counting bundles of cash. Furthermore, an online image of a handwritten and signed note emerged indicating an exchange of $100,000 between a Chinese mining company and a Zambian mining company. While the notes featured the names of Mr. Kakubo and a Mr. Zhang, additional details were not immediately accessible. Chinese corporations play a crucial role in Zambia's mining sector, a fundamental component of the former British colony's economy. Israeli forces continues with intensified attacks in the Gaza Strip's biggest southern city and a central refugee camp after the territory's Hamas-run health ministry reported more than 21,000 people had been killed in 11 weeks of war. The continued airstrikes and the expansion of operations in the south came as the WHO warned that Gaza's population was in grave peril, with France's president calling for a long-term ceasefire. Israel has repeatedly vowed to keep up its campaign to destroy Hamas in retaliation for its bloody October 7 attack, which left about 1,140 people dead, most of them civilians. Palestinian militants also took around 250 hostages, 129 of whom remain in captivity.
Okay. Some sports.
Victor. Yes.
Yeah, we get some sports.
Remo Stars have ended the year 2023 on top of the Nigerian Premier Football League table, regardless of the outcome of the matchday 16 game against Outland FC in Owerri later today. Although the league is 3 fixtures away from mid-season, Remo's remarkable run becomes noteworthy because it's the first time in over a decade that the league is in full swing at this time of the year. Remo Stars sit on top of the table with 29 points from 15 matches. As Remo Stars go up against struggling Outland FC in Owerri, what remains to be seen is how many points gap they will hold on top of the table as Doma United and Lobby Stars are breathing down their neck. And a late Noni Madueke penalty and Chelsea a 2-1 win against Crystal Palace in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge Wednesday. It is a return to winning ways for Mauricio Pochettino's side, who fell to a 2-1 defeat at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Clipped in by Ayew, here's Elise, time to bring it down.
Michael Olise got Palace goal, cancelling out the Blues opener. But in the 89th minute, Chelsea got their second goal thanks to Madueke, who converted from the penalty spot.
Goal of the season, no problem.
Chelsea moved back to 10th place on 25 points in the league table.
All right, once again, we want to sincerely appreciate all our guests for today's program and the invaluable contribution they have made on the issue of attacks on the plateau. We do look forward to a sustainable peace returning to that state. And so that's been for us for today. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. From me and the rest of the German crew, we thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
All right, and I'm also thanking you for joining us. I'm Victor Azo. We'll see you next time.